Chapter 9, they made a list of all the people of Israel according to their families. And this was written in the book of the kings of Israel. The people of Judah had been taken prisoner to Babylon as punishment for their sins. The first who returned to live in their properties and in their cities were people of the people, priests, Levites, and temple servants. People from the tribes of Judah, Benjamin, Ephraim, and Manasseh went to live in Jerusalem. 690 families of the tribe of Judah lived in Jerusalem. The leader of the descendants of Perez, son of Judah, was Uthai, son of Ammihud, and grandson of Omri. Among his ancestors were Imri and Bani. The leader of the descendants of Shelah, son of Judah, was Asaiah, who was the chief of his family. The leader of the descendants of Zerah, son of Judah, was Jewel. 690 families of the tribe of Judah lived in Jerusalem. The leader of the descendants of Perez, son of Judah, was Uthai, son of Ammihud, and grandson of Omri. Among his ancestors were Imri and Bani. The leader of the descendants of Shelah, son of Judah, was Asaiah, who was the chief of his family. The leader of the descendants of Zerah, son of Judah, was Jeuel. Living in Jerusalem were the following members of the tribe of Benjamin: Salu, son of Meshullam, grandson of Hodaviah, and great-grandson of Hasanua; Ibniah, son of Jerahmeeliah, son of Utzi, and grandson of Mitri; Meshullam, son of Shephatiah, grandson of Ruel and great-grandson of Ibnajah. 956 families of the tribe of Benjamin lived in Jerusalem. All the men whose names were mentioned were chiefs of families. Living in Jerusalem were the following priests: Jedaiah, Jehoiarib, and Yakin. Also living there was Azariah, who was the administrator of the temple. He was son of Hilkiah, grandson of Meshullam, great-grandson of Zadok, great-great-grandson of Morioth, and great-great-grandson of Ahitub. Adiah, son of Jeraham, grandson of Pashur, and great-grandson of Malchiah. Masai, son of Adil, grandson of Jezerah, great-grandson of Meshullam, great-great-grandson of Meshillemith, and great-great-grandson of Immer. There were 1,760 priests, who were chiefs of families. They were prepared to do all the work of the temple. Living in Jerusalem were the following Levites: Shemiah, son of Hashub, grandson of Azrikam, and great-grandson of Hashabiah. He was of the family group of Merari. Bakbacher, Haresh, and Galel; Mattaniah, son of Micah, grandson of Zikri, and great-grandson of Asaph; Obadiah, son of Shemaiah, grandson of Galel, and great-grandson of Jeduthun; Berechiah, son of Asa, and grandson of Elkanah, who lived in the lands belonging to the city of Netapha. Living in Jerusalem were the following temple guards: Shalom, Akab, Talman, and Ahiman. Shalom was their chief. From that time until today, members of their family groups have been guards of the King's Gate, which was on the east side of the temple. In earlier times, they were the guards of the gates of the camps of the Levites. Shallum, son of Kori and grandson of Ebiasaph, and also his relatives of the family group of Korah, were responsible for guarding the entrance of the tent of the presence of God, as their ancestors had been when they were responsible for the camp of God, the Lord. At that time, Phinehas, son of Eleazar, may the Lord be with Phinehas, was their chief. Zechariah, son of Meshulemiah, also was guard of the entrance of the tent of the presence of God. Altogether, 212 men were chosen to be guards of the gates. Their names were written in a list, according to the towns where they lived. It was King David and the prophet Samuel who had placed their ancestors in these positions of trust. They and their descendants guarded the gates of the area of the temple. There was a gate in front of each of the directions: north, south, east, and west, and each gate had a chief guard. These guards were helped by their relatives who lived in the towns and who took turns in the work, 7 by 7 days. The 4 chief guards were Levites and were responsible for this work, and also watched over the rooms of the temple and the things kept there. So they lived near the temple because it was their duty to guard it and open the gates every morning. The other Levites were responsible for the objects used in the worship. Every time these objects were used, they counted them when they were taken and when they were returned. There were also Levites responsible for the other sacred objects and for the wheat flour, the wine, the oil, the incense, and the spices. But it was the priests who had the responsibility to mix the spices. A Levite called Mattathiah, who was the firstborn son of Shalom. of the family group of Korah, was responsible for preparing the offerings of bread. Members of the family group of Kohath were responsible for making every Sabbath the sacred breads for the temple. Some families of Levites were responsible for the music in the temple. The chiefs of these families lived in the rooms of the temple and had no other duties, for they were occupied in their service day and night. These were the chiefs of families of Levites, according to the list of the names of their ancestors. They were the leaders who lived in Jerusalem. Gil founded the city of Gibeon and lived there. His wife was called Masich. His firstborn son was Abdon, and the others were Zur, Kish, Baal, Ner, Nadab, Gedor, Ahio, Zechariah, and Mikloth. Wes, the father of Shimei. Their descendants lived in Jerusalem, near the other families of their family group. Ner was father of Kish, and Kish was father of Saul. Saul was father of 4 sons, Jonathan, Malchishua, Abinadab, and Eshbal. Jonathan was father of Meribal, and Meribal was father of Micah. Micah was father of 4 sons, Pithon, Milek, Tariah, and Ahaz. Ahaz was father of Jerah. And Jerah was father of 3 sons, Alemeth, Asmaveth, and Zimri. Zimri was father of Moza. Moza was father of Binyah. Binyah was father of Raphiah. Raphiah was father of Elessa, and Elessa was father of Azel. Azel was father of 6 sons, Azrikam, Basero, Ishmael, Shariah, Obadiah, and Hanan. Chapter 10. The Philistines fought against the Israelites on Mount Gilboa. Many Israelites were killed there, and the rest fled. Among those who fled were King Saul and his sons. But the Philistines surrounded them and killed Jonathan, Abinadab, and Malchishua, sons of Saul. The fight was fierce around Saul, who was struck by enemy arrows and was very wounded. Then he said to the boy who carried his weapons, "Take your sword and kill me, so that these pagan Philistines never make fun of me." But the boy was very afraid and did not want to do this. Then Saul took his own sword and threw himself upon it. When he saw that Saul was dead, the boy also threw himself upon his own sword and died together with him. And thus Saul and his 3 sons died together, and none of his descendants became king. When the Israelites who lived in the valley of Jezreel heard that the army of Israel had fled and that Saul and his sons had been killed, they abandoned their cities and fled. Then the Philistines went and occupied those cities. One day after the battle, when the Philistines returned there to strip from the dead the things of value, they found the bodies of Saul and his sons fallen on Mount Gilboa. Then they cut off Saul's head and took his weapons. Afterwards they sent messengers with them to the Philistine territory, on order to give the good news to their idols and to the people. They put his weapons in one of their temples and hung his head in the temple of Dagon, their god. When the people of the city of Jabesh in Gilead heard what the Philistines had done with Saul, their bravest inhabitants went, took the bodies of Saul and his sons, and carried them to Jabesh. They buried them under an oak tree and fasted 7 days. Saul died thus because he was unfaithful to God, the Lord. He disobeyed the commandments of God and consulted the spirits of the dead instead of consulting the Lord. Therefore, God killed him and gave the kingdom to David, son of Jesse.